Hello friends, I greet you all. Today we will discuss the Chat Cloner module. To do this, let's go to the left menu, select Special Modules, and then the Chat Cloner module. This module can clone chats, both public and private. We choose the type of group depending on which chat you will be cloning from. If it's a private chat, you will also need to provide a link for joining, meaning that the accounts that will perform the cloning will join this chat to extract content from it. And another important point, the chat cloner can also clone chats that are protected against cloning when there is a copy restriction set in the chat settings. This module will also successfully clone such chats. First, we need to specify the link to the message from the chat we will be cloning. The cloning will start from this message. Let's take any chat as an example. It clones all content, including photos and videos, except for buttons that may be present in the posts, because buttons are related to the bot API, and that is a different matter. We copy the message link and paste it here. Next, we need to provide the link to the clone group, which is the link where we will be cloning to. A crucial reminder, the chat you will be cloning to must be a supergroup. You can read about supergroups on our forum, the BLB team, where there are articles. Go to the Telegram experts section, and depending on which language you need, Russia, America, China, you will find an article there. If your chat is not a supergroup, cloning will not occur, and there will be problems. Next, the delay before sending is the interval at which messages will be sent. Here, you specify a range from which the software will randomly select a value each time during the sending process. This pause occurs, and the sending takes place. The maximum wait time for flood wait, as in all modules, is that if the account encounters a flood during operation that is less than the specified time. The software will wait for this flood, and then the account will continue working. However, if the account encounters a flood that exceeds the specified time, the software will stop working with that account. If you have multiple accounts selected, it will start with another one. Additionally, consider this: if there are many users who have written from the specified message in the chat, for example, there are 100 users and you have 10 accounts, the software will only clone messages from those 10 accounts. It does not send messages cyclically, meaning the software cloned messages from 10 accounts and then stopped. To continue, for example, with the same accounts, you need to add more accounts or make the next run from another message, but still with the same accounts. To find out how many accounts we need from the clone message, we click to select users for cloning and then click to get data, and the software will provide information on how many accounts we need. Don't forget to select an account beforehand, because the software will prompt you about that. To get the data, it's enough to select one account to find out how many accounts we need for cloning to completion. The software indicates that we need 18 accounts. So, if in this case we choose 7 accounts, the software will not clone to the end. If you want to clone the chat history to the end, you need to use the specified number of accounts. Or, when the 7 accounts have completed their task, find out what the last message sent was, take the next one from the original chat, copy the link to it, and restart the process. We also won't be cloning users. Be sure to enable Subscribe to Clone Group. This is necessary if your accounts are not in the chat you intend to clone. If you have already cloned from these accounts to this chat and haven't logged out of those accounts, then you don't need to enable this option because your accounts are already there. But if you are cloning for the first time, you must enable this. Otherwise, the software will not start its task. Next, you can clone user profiles. For example, you looked and you need 18 accounts for cloning, and you want to do it identically in your chat so that both the profiles and the users are cloned. In this case, the software will clone both the avatars of the senders and their names, as well as all information about them, and it will publish messages from them to your chat. Next, you can replace words in the history. Here you specify which word to replace and with which word to replace it, using a colon. There is a brief instruction on how this is done. There is also an option to consider letter case. Pay very close attention to this if you want to replace words, because if you enable case sensitivity and you have a lowercase letter while in the chat there is an uppercase letter, then the software will not replace this word with that one, because it will take case sensitivity into account. Next, the module is set up. We start our task. The software works in a single thread, because sending messages is only possible in one thread. Since this is a chat, and the software clones another chat, so the software will work in a single thread. First, it will subscribe from all accounts to your final chat. Then it will collect the history from the previous chat and begin cloning. The software does not clone in real time, it specifically clones the chat history. That is, from the message whose link you specified. And the most important thing to remember, as I told you, is that the software will clone from your accounts as many users as there are accounts available. This is initially checked to see how many accounts you need for cloning so that you understand whether you have enough accounts from this message or not. If there are not enough accounts, you will see from how many users it will be cloned. The software has started cloning. It collected from the previous chat. It has started sending. As we can see, the software is performing the cloning. It sends any content, as I mentioned earlier, including photos, videos, voice messages, and stickers. All of this is also cloned by the software from the chats. If we enable profile cloning here, the software would clone names, surnames, and avatars from this chat. Of course, it's recommended to choose as many accounts as you need for a complete picture because the software operates in such a way that it clones based on the number of profiles. And as I mentioned, if, for example, you need 15 accounts for cloning but you select only 14, then messages will be cloned from 14 users in the specified chat, and one user will not be cloned. As you can see, it sends photos. It also does coding, but since, for example, in the original chat, what the accounts are coding was much higher than the message from which we started cloning. Here it simply sends. Regarding chat cloning, similarly, you can simultaneously clone multiple chats as there is a task manager. Accordingly, only from different accounts. As I told you, see, quoting has appeared. Because this message is included in the list of what the software clones. And this quoting was indicated after our message was sent. And I'll repeat, the chat cloner clones all content available, except for buttons, if any. As we can see, quoting is present. That's the full functionality of this module. Just keep in mind that the link to the clone group must be a supergroup. I mentioned earlier where to look and read about this. And if you are cloning from a private chat, you need to provide an invitation link. If there is no link, then cloning won't work. And this module also clones protected content if protected content is enabled in the chat. The software will clone that too. And a small detail, you can, for example, when you receive information, select users for cloning, meaning you can check boxes or select all, and so on. So keep this in mind, and also pay attention to word replacement in history. Read what is written here, but basically, there is nothing complicated. So if you specify, for instance, 1 here, and for example, 2 here, then in the history, the number 1 will be replaced with the number 2, and the final chat sent to you will already have the number 2. Thank you all for watching. Good luck to everyone. Goodbye.